In Siege, sometimes we come up against a crazy new strat that we've never seen before. If we want to keep up with the meta, we need to learn these new tactics. Today we're going to look at 3 pro tricks that will set you apart from the lower ranks. These are Impact Tricking, Bandit Tricking, and Maverick Tricking. All 3 of these tricks deal with reinforcements and how we can either keep them closed for longer or open them up ourselves. Before we start, remember to like and subscribe if you learned something. Thanks. The first trick I'll go over is my personal favorite, Impact Tricking. The basic idea is that there are certain reinforcements in the game where we can use an impact grenade to destroy attacker hard breaches before they go off. We do this to keep the reinforcement closed for longer and waste attacker utility, especially if we don't have wall denial like a bandit or Cade. The best site to show this off is Basement on Clubhouse. Here we have the kitchen hatch. We need to keep this closed so we can play safely in the back of armory and keep attackers from dropping and planting. If we don't have a Cade, or if the attackers bring an EMP, we have to use Impact Tricking to keep it closed. To do this, we can make these 2 holes. You can see that there's a surface that's just above and very close to the hatch. What we need to do is wait for attackers to place or activate their hard breach, and then we throw an impact against that surface near the hatch. The impact will hit this surface above the attacker utility and destroy it. Remember, impacts only reach so far, so I use this hole for one half of the hatch and this one for the other. The actual execution of this is pretty easy, but the hard part is coordinating with your team because you can only bring 2 impacts yourself. Hibana and Ace have more than 2 chances at opening the hatch, and attackers could bring secondary hard breaches as well, so we should have our teammate bring another set just to get all the gadgets. This hatch specifically is where I use Impact Tricking the most, almost every single time I play here, but we can apply this technique to other situations as well. Here we can see on border that the Archives hatch can also be Impact Tricked from this hole. Another situation we can use this is on certain walls in the game. If we move over to Church, we can see that the reinforcements don't go all the way up, and there's a small wooden portion at the top. Usually these are open to chuck C4s or smokes, but we can also use them to impact trick the wall. Once it's on, we throw an impact at the ceiling just on the other side, and it gets rid of the hard breach. The ceiling's a little high, so if attackers throw the utility low, it might be just out of our reach, so keep that in mind. I haven't found a ton of other places where this works on a wall, like on Theme Park Throne Room. The impact just won't reach low enough on both walls. If you find a place like this, please let me know in the comments. Lastly, there's one more situation where we can use Impact Tricking. Let's say the enemy has an ace, and they're opening main wall on Chalet Basement. Once the first section of the gadget opens the wall, we can throw an impact on the edge of the hole to destroy the second stage. The attackers will still get a line of sight, so we have to be careful, but they won't be able to hop through and take garage control. We can also use this first hole to try and destroy another ace charge, but we need to be very careful not to expose ourselves when we do. You should try this out with a friend in a custom game to get a feel for everything, like the timing and how far the impact reaches. Experiment with other hatches and walls, and if you find a new place to use this trick, let me know in the comments. Alright, now we can look at another technique to keep the wall closed, and this is the classic Bandit Tricking. This technique is a bit more universal as it works on any reinforced wall. Basically, we're trying to put our bandits down when the attackers deploy their hard breach and destroy the gadget. Our biggest thing to overcome here is the timing between the Thatchers and the hard breach charge. We need to burn through all the EMPs and then the hard breaches. I'll usually start with one bandit off to the side to bait a Thatcher EMP off the start. Then we listen. This is the sound cue for the hard breach when it goes on. Once we hear the hard breach on one side, we put a bandit down. The thermite may pull off and try to switch sides, so really listen to where he's putting the gadget. If you have a hard time hearing, use a shotgun to prep the soft wall before the trick. It will make the charges easier to hear. When you see the light and you know the Thatcher EMP is coming, try to grab a bandit charge to save it from the EMP and be ready to put it down right away, because the breach comes right after. We have to juggle our bandits around the EMPs, and hopefully we can catch the hard breaches as they get placed. When I get a charge, I try to reset back to one wall electrified like we started. Another thing to keep in mind is how quickly you get to put your bandit down. If you wait too long, a thermite charge will go off anyway and it'll kill you. So, if you're late, give it up and play your life. If the hard breach is thermite or the secondary utility, we only need to get rid of 2 gadgets, and they deploy slow enough that you'll be able to catch them most of the time. Ace makes it a little harder. You have to be on your toes because he can quickly throw one on each wall and you'll have to make a decision on which to destroy. Often though, in low ranks, players will mistime the aces or put them in the middle where either bandit will get them, so you can't get lucky. Also, it's good to try because even if they get the wall open, they had to waste valuable time and utility clearing you off the wall. Speaking of utility, there's often a drone hole, window, or some angle that could be dangerous when we're tricking. So we should communicate with our team so that we can make the trick safer. Bring Jaegers or Wamai for the drone hole nades, castle off windows and doors so you can't be shot. A zombie can also block those drone holes and create new cover for you. And mute stops the twitch and the Flores drones. Your team should cover you so that you just need to focus on the wall and not worry about outside factors. Lastly, for bandit tricking, I wanted to mention that you can do this with other operators in a pinch. Cade can trick in a similar way, but the deploy time is too slow for coordinated attackers and you only get 2 gadgets. Mute can do it too, but it doesn't actually break the hard breach charge, and it doesn't cover the entire wall, so he can be worked around. Tuberau can slow down the wall, but if the breach was activated before he freezes the wall, it'll go off no matter what once the freeze is done. So I would try to pick bandit if you can, but worst case, you can at least delay the wall from opening with other operators. Before we get to the last trick, if you've been watching this long, you should like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Okay, so now that we've looked at 2 ways of keeping the reinforcement closed, let's switch to attack and look at a trick that helps us open the walls ourselves. This is Maverick Tricking, and it allows us to open up the entire wall regardless of any wall denial, bandits, cades, mutes, anything. It takes longer to set up and is a little more dangerous than regular breaching, but we can counter impact trickers and bandit trickers without playing the timing game, so it's very useful in that way. The basic concept is that we need to open lines at the top and bottom of the reinforcement all the way across. We make sure it's all the way through when we get this noise cue on each corner. Seriously, make sure you get the corners and hear that sound cue. If you don't, the wall will stay closed and you'll have to go back and redo it, and the defenders will now have holes to stop you. Do this on the top and bottom of the reinforcement. When you do this, you're very exposed, but we can do 2 things to be safer. 1, we don't Maverick head on. Do it from the reinforced side and keep your body behind cover as you work across. And 2, we have a buddy to watch the new holes for any defenders that try to get an angle on you. Defenders are just going to try and peek you, that's really the only way to counter it, so play safe with your positioning and have your people cover you. With all this in mind, we can go ahead and look at the process from start to finish. We open the first line, making sure we get each corner, and then on the next line, same thing, we focus on those corners. I sped up the clip, but the actual amount of time it took me was about 30 seconds. So, you'll know you've done it right when the entire reinforced wall is destroyed, and you're left with just a soft wall inside. Now that we're here, you'll need to have a teammate with an Ash, Zoph, or a Buck destroy the soft wall, and that way you can enter sight. You can use Sledge or someone else, but you're really exposed if you go up to the wall when it's soft, so I recommend using someone who can destroy the wall from a distance. Now we have our breach holes directly into sight, and we basically neutralize Bandit's ability. This trick can be used on any wall that you can reach the top of. I'd also recommend trying this out in customs because getting the blowtorch to work properly is a little finicky sometimes, so give it a go with a friend and let me know if you got it to work. Okay, so now we know a few ways to keep the wall closed, and another to open it ourselves. These tricks are super useful against low ranks because they just haven't seen them before and don't know how to counter them. In higher ranks, people know these tricks, but they can still be effective if the other team is uncoordinated or if you really practice and get used to doing them. Alright guys, that's it for the tips today. If you learned something, please like and subscribe, and let me know if there's any other tricks you guys want to learn in the comments below. Alright, I'll see ya.